I've been a huge champion and advocate of self-care for founders and for humans in general. So I've written a lot on this topic, but um, it's sort of an obvious realization. But just like when you're on the plane and they tell you put on your mask first, there is a reason for that.
Yeah.
You really can't truly be your best for your family, your children, your friends, and for your company, for your startup, if you don't give to yourself first. And I think it's taken me a long time to understand that simple thing. And I teach this to founders. Startup journeys are marathons and sprints all intertwined. They're absolutely crazy madness. We die in the process. The only way to survive is to have really strong self-care routine, whatever it is, but give to yourself first before you jump into the madness of every day.
For me, success is Black economic development. I think that for me is what I wake up and think about, and it keeps me going in the challenging moments of being a founder. It's something I'm passionate about, obviously, having lived a experience as a Black person in the United States. And I think it's something that once we figure that out, America as a whole will be so much better, and the world really. With regards to new majority capital, success for us looks like a few different things. Obviously, we want acquisitions, right? So this would not be successful if our entrepreneurs don't end up actually acquiring companies and then scaling them. We want our companies to scale, and then for the founders that are minority founders, for them to go on and get contracts with companies and scale their businesses. Same thing for our women founders.
The most important thing for any founder or startup is, I'll tell you a quick little story. So when I was in 12th grade, I had a teacher that told me I really wouldn't amount to much, right? And laughed at me whenever I told her what I wanted to do with my life, right? And had I listened to her, I probably wouldn't have amounted to much, right? So I think keeping that attitude of do not for 1 minute, for 1 second, allow someone else to dictate how you look and think of yourself. It is so important to know who you are and believe that, and don't let someone who is sitting in the stands dictate what you will do while you're fighting in the arena, because their criticism does not matter if they're just waiting outside to critique you. So I think that is one of the lessons I wish all founders knew.
When I was about to graduate from chemical engineering, I was working with one of these very large corporations. And then I realized that true, the chemical industry is admirable, makes about 96% of the things that we see around us every day. But as you said, it is also the third largest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. And I realized that I didn't want to just be part of that industry. I wanted to change it. I wanted it to feel like I was proud of it, of everything that it was building, of everything that it was doing. I knew that it wasn't going to be something that would change from one day to another. And to be honest, I didn't even know how to really change it, right? Because it seems like such a big problem. And what can you do as one person who's still a student, who's still trying to learn? But I think that when you give yourself a chance and a second to think about it, you realize that if you have a good idea, somebody has to try it. If you fail, you tried. It wasn't the right one. You just learned one path that is not the right one to make it work. But if it does work out, then you have everything to gain from it. And at the end of the day, every great idea that has taken place was made by someone who had never tried it and who thought it was probably going to fail as well.
So we've been doing this for 3.5 years now. And to see some of our early members now see, strides of success and growth, whether that's through funding rounds or through their own revenue generation, it's been extremely rewarding. The most rewarding aspect of it has been the collaborative efforts that you see, as you said, between founders. We really have a strong community here. We've worked with folks that are younger and they're older, and each of those, demographics have different things to add value to, and we all seem to come together and leverage each other in appropriate ways, whether it's through, for networking purposes or for strategic advice or just moral support, having conversations by the water filter and whatnot. But it's really just great to see everyone supporting each other, and you sort of can step back and just see it happen, and then you recognize that the thing is working.
What can you share about the fundraising process that you're walking away with as a female founder?
Things would be so much easier and I'd be so much further along if I was a man. Someone who grew up in such a feminist household, went to an all-girls school, and I was on all-girls robotics team as well. So it was really all about like, girls can do anything. You can do anything you want to. And then walking into this startup world and venture world where it's like, this sexism is not a joke and it's not subtle. It is just out there. And there's a saying that, you know, if you're male, pale, and from Yale, you don't get those checks. And it's unfortunately true. And it's like really, it's maddening. It makes me really angry. And I think that's kind of become my online persona. I'm just mad at this like whole ecosystem.
I think it's really important to understand that your KPIs, your North Star might evolve. So for example, our first year and even the past few years, our North Star was total bookings per month. Like we're not optimizing for revenue. We want people to use this as a go-to solution for planning their virtual events. And in the first stage, it was really just about proving that people wanted to book virtual events. It was a good KPI for that time.
Right.
Now the KPI is changing, our North Star is changing to the average number of bookings per customer per month, because we have two important things that we want to essentially prove out with this. One of them is the fact that there's more predictability and more repeatability with our business, and that there's more loyalty, that the customer actually wants to come back, that they are coming back, and that we can take certain actions and measurements that will show that graph essentially eventually go up and to the right.